Now it's time, though, we should probably bring up the highlights.
Kicked off with Taj Burrow and Kolohe Andino, the first heat of the day. TB got it going on. Very strong performance from the ratings number 2 going into this event.
Oh, pretty classic to see this matchup because Kolohe had Taj's number. He had a little room to play around in the tube here, and Taj ended up getting a nice clean 5-7-7, couple of mid-range scores, and he was off into the next one. Nat Young then took the lineup and got a couple of great ones here.
Pretty tricky heat against Jeremy Flores. Those guys have had a couple already. Nat Young got a great start though.
Great start, and also got a 4-3-3 here. Very smart in his decision making. Got a clean hack off the top. Showed a little bit of water here, just speed jam to set up that final move, and he ended up moving on into round 4 after that effort.
2 of the hometown crowd's favourite surfers battling it out in the third heat of round 3. Adriano De Souza and Miguel Pupo. Adriano, coming off a win down at Bells Beach, could not be stopped.
Oh, that wave came in at a 6.67. Then this wave, a 5.33. Had a nice rhythm going with the barrel, nice glassy conditions, and he's always good to complete that finish. And he moved on to round 4.
Gabriel Medina and Travis Logie, another goofy-footed matchup, and it was Gabriel Medina who got the jump on Logie. But have a look at this pit for Logie. Fought hard, didn't he?
Yeah, impressive. 9.27 for Logie in that tube exchange. Medina kept fighting back and got a 7.07 for that insane rotation on the backhand. He was landing everything into the wind there.
Yeah, I really love that aerial from Gabriel. Fully extended, worthy of a big score, and the judges certainly stamped it.
Ace Buchan took on CJ Hobgood in this heat. A couple of clean backside turns. Started Ace off with a 4.5 here. Methodical in his rhythm. Started building throughout this heat and was able to eliminate 2001 world champ with his 7.77 here.
Great combo on this ride from Adrian Buchan, just floating with speed toward that end section and absolutely unloaded. Got himself a hefty score and moves on through.
Kelly hit the lineup and started putting on a clinic. Probably the best heat of the entire day today. Kelly got a 9.97 here that we saw in the daily highlight reel, but he didn't stop there. Packed an 8.77 here.
He was throwing away huge scores at the end of this heat. He was dropping excellent rides. So Kelly had a blinder out here today in the third round, and he was just having a lot of fun.
This one was the 9.0, locked and loaded, super deep, and look how much momentum he has to go for this inside crack off the top. Everything was going his way, and he left Pakadauskas out in the dark, waiting out the back. Then we had Joel Parkinson and Glenn Hall.
The upset of the day, Glenn Hall, the rookie who hadn't made a heat prior to Brazil, came into today's action probably as the real underdog. Not too many people would have backed him to beat Parko based on Parko's form so far this year, but Micro, he just kept battling it out and he got the win.
Oh, massive upset. We see Glenn again, another vision here on the back end, getting a 5.33 and had one of the biggest heats of his career, eliminating last year's world champion, as Parko's going to have to rinse that one off and come back big time. He wants to get involved in this world title race once again. We moved on and saw Michelle Perez take the lineup against Pete Durbridge.
This heat went right down to the wire, and Michel Perez in the final stages got himself into this pit and was extremely happy to be moving on through to round 4.
Feeling the mana on that 6.60 and took out Pete Durbridge, who's so consistent. Then one of my favorite heats of the day, a great matchup with Julian Wilson and Sebastian Zietz. Wilson getting a 9.17 here, and he ended up losing this one.
Yeah, probably one of the best exchanges we saw all day, especially towards the back end of the heat. These guys just went wave for wave, and Sebastian Zietz ended up coming out on top.
He loved that little air double grab. He was even smiling in the air on that one. Always keeping it loose and fun as he was just popping little shove-its along the way. We've got Julian, though, with a pretty meaty section at a 7.17 here, as he looked like he was going to take control.
That got Julian into the lead in the final stages, but then he had to turn around and watch this.
So stand-up Solars packing the pit, 8.03 for Seabass, and styled his way through that little twist and wrap. Just reminds you of all the sessions that he pulls off at backdoor and off the wall right at home.
Yep, and this was the one that did it for him, a double barrel, and just punched through the curtain, got a big score, and got the jump on Julian.
An exciting one there came to a close, and Sebastian Zietz moved on to the next one. Then another matchup that we were loving was Felipe Toledo and Josh Kerr. The thing was, they had to restart after no waves at the start of the heat, and it was all Felipe, and we really didn't even see Josh get started.
He had a quiet one, Josh Kerr. He was feeling really confident going into this heat, but Felipe, he just had great rhythm once he got going. and he couldn't be stopped.
Clean attempt off the top, just using his feet, then packing little tubes like this. Another one of those one-sided affairs where it was all going in favor of Toledo. The next heat was Jordy Smith versus Kai Otten.
His scrappiest heat all year, Jordy, even though he got the win. He did really put on a fantastic show, and he certainly wasn't too happy with himself, even though he did plant this little number.
We had about 16 minutes go on the clock, and they still only had 2s and 3s. Finally, Jordy started building. He got a 6.67 there to kind of open up the door a little bit to move on to the next one. The final heat of the round was Mick Fanning taking on Brett Simpson.
What started as a fantastic clash with both surfers locking in scores, high scores, ended up being a bit of a one-sided affair in the end. Mick Fanning came home really strong and just left Brett Simpson chasing a massive score in the final stages.
Clean floats and looking solid there as we moved on to round 4, the non-elimination round, where the winner skips round 5 and goes straight to the quarterfinals. Everyone wants that spot. Taj Burrow started to try to getting a run going here, but he ended up not getting that top spot. He had to surf in round 5.
Yeah, that's right. And Taj, that interference, you know, I think it really wreaked havoc on his momentum in this contest. Adriano de Souza just getting what he needed on the board, and he wasn't even involved in the altercation, and he was just down the beach doing his own thing.
Got a 6.33 there, and he ended up getting a nice Galassi one, free falling, and the judges gave him an 8.33. So he started moving into the lead, and things got pretty exciting as he was fighting for his finishes. Taj and Adriano has had finals before out here, but it was the interesting point with the priority interference. Taj Burrow on Nat Young lost that big number and ended up going into round 5.
A lucky jump for Adriano, and then it was straight into the second heat of round 4. On paper, you're seeing Gabriel Medina, Adrian Buchan, and Kelly Slater. You're kind of thinking Kelly or Gabriel's going to get the jump, but Ace Buchan knew what was going on.
Here we go, Kelly through the inside, and then Medina tried to get going. He had a huge attempt here. It would have been massive if he could have stomped it. Ends up buckling his board on the roof of the tube and ended up with a 1.9, which could have been a 15 out of 10 if he would have pulled it.
Yeah, and Adrian Buchan just kept chipping away. He was the guy who went out there and went, I'm going to finish off my rides, and it paid off big time in the end. Kelly and Gabrielle aren't able to find the answers.
Things started changing a bit with a little bit more wind, but Sebastian Zietz ended up packing this left-hander way down the line and got a 9.77 to get in that first place position to go right into the quarterfinals.
Been a real dream run for the rookie, and then it was straight into heat number 4 of round 4.
Great effort here as we had a great matchup of a lot of different styles of surfing. Mick Fanning was in this one, and he ended up getting an 8-point ride into some pretty crazy windy conditions.
And then it really became about Jordy Smith and Felipe Toledo. Jordy just getting that great ride, beautiful deep barrel, a 10-pointer, and Felipe just came after him after that.
8.43 for this one as Felipe just kept chipping away, looking so springy on that firewire, connecting all the dots in the right places. But the big message here was this ride.
This had everyone talking. I'm sure it's got the whole surfing world buzzing at the moment. Great combo, rotating in opposite directions on the one ride. Big claim, his dad was stoked, and Felipe Toledo powered on through to the quarterfinals.
A crucial one there to skip round 5. A couple of the guys had to surf in this one though, so an extra heat for guys like Taj, who ends up drawing Kelly Slater, and Kelly ends up bringing out the best every time they have a matchup.
This was such a close clash between these two great rivals. Kelly Slater just edging ahead of Taj Burrow and TB, unable to find the answers in the dying stages.
This was Taj's really role here to maybe take a win. Got an 8.63, got tangled up out of the tube, but a big score, but this is what happened right behind it.
Kelly Slater still matching it with the young guns with his full rotor airs, and he just rode out of that one beautifully and backed it up with this one.
Backhand 6.6 here, just kept ripping his way down the line and took out Taj once again to make it onto the quarters.
That's right, TB looking pretty disappointed about that result. We then went into the second heat of round 5. Gabriel Medina kicked it off with a Superman on his very first ride.
6.87 for that move. Not a whole lot of guys could attempt that in heats. Medina's done it a few times and always has a little bit more room to run through the inside section.
He just kept going with the aerials and landed that backside air reverse. Great rotation for another keeper score.
7.33 here for Medina. Jams it off the top one more time, and he was looking like he was in complete control. His family loved it, and he moves on to the next one.
Mick Fanning, he really did have a return to form in round 5. after placing third in his round 4 matchup. Picked off a couple of great waves. He kept busy and just adapted well to a changing lineup.
Oh, he's working this wave so well. Got us 8-point ride for this one, so finally got a big score towards the tail end. Running off to this inside punt section. Every time he went for a wave, he pulled his maneuvers off, and Michelle didn't even get a start.
Yeah, he really shut Michelle out of the heat. But then Geordie Smith, he fired up in the last heat of the day. It was a really good battle. Glenn Hall really turned up for that clash. Great exchanges, some big airs laid down.
And Geordie kept going for broke. Big rotations there again, an 8.33 as he moved on to the quarterfinals and eliminated Glenn Hall. That'll do it for the daily highlights.